You know, they tell you that if you don't vote, you have no right to complain. That's the cliche that you're taught at a very young age. I think the first time I heard that was fourth grade, which is a weird thing to say to a fourth grader because fourth graders can't vote. So basically, they were just saying like, "Look, you have no right to complain." It's like, well, I'm also, I'm like 9 or 10 or whatever. I don't really know about politics yet. I mean, I didn't when I was that age. I know some kids that age do, and I kind of find that a little horrifying, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's like you're gonna have enough years to kind of dive into that. I feel like when you're 9 or 10, maybe it's maybe it's not time to worry about that quite yet, but but it happens, especially with the internet and stuff like that. But they say if you don't vote, you have no right to complain. And you got to vote for the lesser of two evils. And you got to vote blue no matter who. And if you live in California like me, if you do not vote for Donald Trump, you're voting for Joe Biden. And if you do not vote for Joe Biden, you're voting for Donald Trump, depending on who you talk to. We've been through this before. I have been told by Trump supporters that if I don't vote if I vote for anyone other than Donald Trump, I'm voting for Joe Biden. I've been told by Biden supporters that not voting for Biden equals a vote for Trump. Even if I planned on voting for neither candidate, which I do, I plan to vote for neither candidate. But if I vote for the Green Party or I vote for the socialist candidate, I am essentially voting for both of them being Trump and Biden. How does that make sense? Well, it doesn't really, but that's our system for you. That's our system. Trump supporters will tell you, well, California is a blue state, so you're essentially voting for Biden if you don't vote for the biggest opposition to Biden, which is Donald Trump. Biden supporters will tell you any vote that's not for Biden is a vote for Trump because we're conditioned to say that all third-party votes are a vote for Trump. And you're just kind of shrugging your shoulders going, gee, I was planning on voting for neither of them. I guess now I'm voting for both of them. What are you going to do? What a great system we got. It's spectacular. Do you want to choose between alleged rapists? I'd rather not. Well, I guess you're choosing both of them then. All right. But in New York, the reason I bring all this up is in New York, they are giving up the facade that there's any integrity linked to our elections whatsoever. Our pristine elections, as Noam Chomsky likes to put it, that is littered with superdelegates and gerrymandering and the Electoral College and voter suppression and exit polls that don't match the supposed results and no paper trail whatsoever and machines that are easily hackable, easily manipulated. Everyone knows that, and they don't care anyway. All that happens in our wonderful elections that we're so worried Russia might spread a few memes around that are going to influence small-minded people. Oh, my tiny brain, I don't know what to do now that I saw Jesus arm wrestling Satan talking about masturbation. I don't know how to vote now. I'm being manipulated. Our elections are so amazing otherwise. Well, in New York, they don't even want to pretend. They don't even want to pretend anymore that it matters. Here's what's going on in New York. Warnings of suspension of democracy in New York as state officials weigh removing Bernie Sanders from the primary ballot. They might just take him off the ballot. They might just be, screw it. We don't even care about the number of delegates. We don't even care. Just take him up. New York State election officials are poised to remove Bernie Sanders from the ballot in June's primary election, a move that would deny the Vermont lawmaker supporters the chance to cast a vote for him as president and would harm his chances of using his delegate count to influence the party's direction and push for reforms. So here's what's going on. As HuffPost Daniel Moran's reported Tuesday, Board of Elections co-chair Douglas Kellner and Commissioner Andrew Spano, both Democrats, will meet Wednesday to decide on whether or not to remove Sanders' name from the ballot. So that's today. Kellner believes that a provision in the 2019-2020 budget says the board may remove a candidate from the ballot if they make clear they are no longer seeking the office in question. Under Kellner's interpretation of the statute, Sanders, who suspended his campaign on April 8th, falls under that category. There you go. It's not fair. Here's what Kellner has to say. It's not very controversial that Bernie Sanders has suspended his campaign. Actually, it is. Stop you right there. Actually, it is. Bernie Sanders suspending his campaign when he did is the equivalent of a football team on a game time drive And by the way, they don't even know how many points they have. They actually have more points than they realize because not all the points have even been awarded yet because I guess the scorekeeper's drunk. And it's 3rd and long, and Bernie Sanders decides to punt the football and just throw the game. That's what that's the equivalent of. It made 0 sense for Bernie Sanders to drop out when he did. And now New York, they don't even want to entertain the fantasy. By the way, this is the same place where the grumblings have started. Well, I guess you can't really assign that to New York City. It just kind of happened nationally, where they were just thinking, maybe we'll just crown Andrew Cuomo. We'll just crown him king. We'll just anoint him the candidate. People have been talking about that like it was anything resembling okay. Hey, we know we had a primary. We know there was a primary where people got to vote. There was a primary where people in Wisconsin showed up because they were forced to, because they had no choice. They either got to vote or they had to stay home. People had to decide whether or not they wanted to risk their lives to go vote. And by the way, there's been about 17 cases that can all be linked to people going to the polls that day. So, remember Joe Biden telling everyone it was fine to vote. Let's not forget about that. Let's not forget Joe Biden telling everyone it was fine to vote. And people went to the polls that day. Now they're just saying, screw it. And we might just anoint someone the candidate. We might just what if we just made Andrew Cuomo the candidate? Joe Biden can't form a sentence. He's completely out of his mind. Let's just anoint somebody. Let's just anoint Andrew Cuomo. Why do we have primaries at all, really? The DNC said it in court. During the DNC lawsuit, they said it. If we wanted to just anoint somebody in the back room over cigars, we could. We don't do that. We let you people vote. We let you peasants go and risk your lives, in this case, to vote. We kind of give you choices. I mean, we stifle the candidates we don't like and kneecap them as much as we absolutely can. But, you can still fill it out if you want to. And you wonder why people aren't inspired by anything going on in our politics. You wonder why half the country doesn't vote. When you have two parties who have the same owners, one party says, hey, are you rich? No? Well, screw you. We don't care then. Just go die. And the other party says, if you're not rich, we might let you vote. But it's really annoying. You're really inconveniencing us, especially if you want someone who's actually going to institute policies that would make your life better. It's really annoying. We don't have to do this, but I guess we will. Yeah, go ahead. Not me, us. Okay. Well, guess what? It's actually not you. It's us. And by us, we mean the DNC and our donor class and the DCCC. And screw you. Given those great options, isn't it shocking that half the country doesn't bother showing up on election day? Isn't it shocking? It's like they're not even trying to hide it that we don't want these elections to mean jack. They're just a smokescreen, really. Man. So we'll see. I mean, I guess the decision, I guess we can Google it and find out, because I don't know when they're making the decision. It might be later today. Did New York... Let me just go ahead and Google it, see what happens. Did New York kick Bernie off ballot? All right, so it doesn't look like anything's dropped. Sending. Yeah. All right, so I can't find anything doing a quick search that they actually made a final judgment call yet. But they will be making it later today as the recording of this. So we'll see what happens. All right, New York. Remember, if you don't vote, no right to complain. All right. So that's happening.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your